Of course, all this talk should not make you neglect your duties also. No? If you neglect your duties, then you should be afraid of the consequences. No? So if we are now going to start talking about fear sadhana, fear exercise, then you have to first a little bit ask yourself, am I the kind of person who is taking care of his duties? Am I the kind of person who is taking care for the responsibilities that I have? If you are, yes, then you might start doing fear sadhana. But if not, then better not. Then better first do duty sadhana. This is always the first sadhana. The first exercise is to do what you have to do and not run away from that which you have to do. That's always the first thing. But once you are already doing that, once you feel you are doing your duty, you are doing your work, you are earning your keep and things like that, taking care of whoever is under your wings, then you can start doing this fear sadhana, which basically means that, let's say in the beginning for one day, you say no to fear. You tell yourself, okay, today some worry may come, some fear may come. That you cannot stop just like that. It's not by making this promise that it's going to stop. But the moment I recognize it, I will fight it. I will go against it. I will laugh at it. I will do all these things that we've been talking about. I will use the mantra, I will use the breath, I will, cook differently. I will do whatever it takes to stop this fear for a day. So this is usually not so very difficult for most people. But if they are very much like the worrying type, then it may be very difficult. And it may be very good to do it just for one day and then leave a couple of days in between at least before starting another day. That is called fear sadhana. And then if it goes more easily, then you make it a couple of days, 2 days or 3 days. And then you expand that. But don't go too fast. You need time for this. You need to grow into this. But the main thing is that because you make this promise to yourself, that whenever a fear comes, you will more rapidly see it. You will remember your promise. You will be more focused on it. And that way it will not have so much time to develop. Because the stronger the emotion becomes, the more difficult it is to stop it. So then you will nip it in the bud. You will have it very quickly. And you will be able to stop it before it becomes overpowering. So then you gradually expand that. It's very different, this story, for somebody who really is having a fear problem out of the ordinary. And then other people who have just a fear problem that is quite ordinary, like we all can have. No? So those, they can go much faster, and then maybe they will say, okay, for 1 week I will do this exercise. Always leaving some time in between before again starting it. And then slowly you take it to 1 month, and you take it to 3 months, and you take it to a year, and after a while you won't even think about it anymore, because it will become completely natural. Whatever fear comes there, you will look at it. You will not let it take you. You will look at it and say, okay, what is it telling me? As I said, fear is like a little bit of warning, some kind of sixth sense, something's wrong, something needs attention, okay, but I'm not getting afraid. I'm just going to think about it, rationally trying to find a solution, accept that there is no real solution. Whatever, you can do with we've been talking about, you will apply it, and that way it will go very, very quickly. Of course, in life sometimes you need to plan. So some thinking about the future has to be there. The difference is in the mood. The difference is in how you feel about it. Are you thinking about it peacefully? rationally? Or are you like imagining all kinds of stuff and getting very excited about it? And since this is not always so clear, it is good also to have a little of an agreement with yourself about the amount of planning that you are allowed to do. This is also very, very good. Especially if the fear sadhana becomes more long. If it's just for one day, then whatever future problem you are thinking about, you are postponing it to tomorrow. You are not thinking about it today, right? But if you are starting to do fear sadhana for a week or a month, then that becomes impossible. Some things for the future you have to think. This is also your duty. You have some responsibilities. Some planning needs to be done. But then you need some kind of deal with yourself. And for example, when I was doing this sadhana, the deal was 3 times. Any problem that I would encounter, 3 times I was allowed to think about it. Peacefully, not worrying about it, but just thinking about it, trying to make a plan, trying to find a solution, 3 times. Many people take 100 times, right, for one problem. They think about it 100 times, they think about it again and again and again, and they just go on and on and on and on. It doesn't solve anything, but still they are doing it. So 3 times is what I did, whatever, The power you get from this kind of sadhana is very strong. It's called Iccha. Translated maybe literally as omnipotence. Something said of God. No? If you are fearless, then there is nothing you cannot do. Then anything you can do. Anything you can achieve. It is the fear itself which stops you from achieving what you want to achieve. If you can be fearless, then you will also be patient. Then you will just, step by step, build up whatever is needed to do whatever you want to do. So, then life becomes a little bit different. This sadhana is also related to the god Yama. Yama is like in India the god of death. Like if you die and you come in the underworld, Pataloka, then Yama is there. And he will try to guide you towards the next part. Either some visits in different kinds of heavens and other dimensions and whatever, or just the next life in this dimension. So, the fear sadhana really ultimately will be a sadhana of death. And if taken really very far, then it means doing things like going on graveyards in India where they burn the bodies, the dead bodies. So it's not really a graveyard, it's called a burning ghat. And there you are helping to pound the bones to ash. Because usually if they burn a body, the bones are not completely burnt, so then afterwards somebody has to make ash from it, so that everything really becomes powder and gets nicely distributed in the river where it is thrown. And then usually also you are completely covered in this ash of dead bodies. So this is explaining it a little bit differently, more traditionally maybe, but definitely also something which is done, which is part of the training of some schools of sadhus, for example, where it is required that, let's say, for 1 year or even longer, you do this and you live in death. You are always surrounded by death until you've seen death in so many ways and so many times that you are no longer afraid of it. So, in that way this sadhana can go very, very far, but the main thing it can teach you here is to stop worrying, to largely stop thinking about the future. And whenever you think about the future, just to do it in a relatively casual way, knowing that whatever comes is fantastic. So, with this I think I more or less covered it, but maybe some questions are there about how to deal with fear better or whatever you like to ask.
It was hard to hear that you said.
No, but still, I mean, life has these tricks, plays tricks. And actually it's you playing the tricks, but okay, let's not just talk about that, but karma can be very strange. Somehow you have decided to be born being in love with music, but being unable to enjoy it. So, okay, live with it. See what you can make of it. It is not without purpose. Everything has a purpose. From everything you can make something fantastic. And I'm not really going to think now whatever you can do with it, but I'm quite sure you will find something that you can do with that particular problem. Well, I mean, sure, but when it comes to music, maybe it means you have to start listening to your inner music or something. If the ears are no more working, then whatever you can do, you can go inside. Something is there, always. Always something is there. This is the big difference. If you are looking at life and all the problems with curiosity, rather than with fear, there's only two things you can do with the future. You can be curious about it or you can be afraid about it. So to look at it and always try to see where you can find something that really fulfills that moment, that fulfills that problem, that really turns it around and makes something beautiful out of it, which is art. So, all right. Well, if there's no questions, we can chant the mantra a little bit, if you like. We still have a bit of time. It's quite powerful. I have it here on some small papers. Maybe you can distribute this way and they can distribute that way. Gives you a chance to move about. So actually many Kali mantras are there. You might, find others also. But this one is quite powerful without being too long and too difficult to learn. I'll just start, and whenever you feel like it, you can follow. It's pretty simple. Maybe I can say that this ring, this H which is there in front of the R, is not really pronounced. So we're not going to chant ring, something like that. It's not like that in Sanskrit. This is a difficulty because they have characters which we don't have. So the H and the R together are actually one character which we don't have. So just try to follow what I do using this. Ring, clearing. Kalikaye Namaha. Om Ring Kring 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 Kalikaye Namaha. This is a little tantric way, to work with these things, which can be very powerful, especially for the subconscious mind. And the way we were chanting it, very like low sound, is actually more effective. Usually when we chant mantra here, I try to make like some sound in between, very low, very high, so everybody can join in, and especially the ladies, they can easily join in. But actually, if you make the sound a bit low as you can, so that you really vibrate more, then this effect will also be stronger. So, all right. There's no more questions. I thank you very much. Don't be afraid of anything. Just do your duty.